go. What's nice in the morning, though, if you're dealing with a lot of muscle and joint pain, is something called, this is a very old series. It's one of the only, or one of the first physical yoga practices that was actually in some of the ancient texts, and this is called the joint freeing series. And just as the name suggests, it's a very simple, you're going to make your joints do what they do. So some of the joints are hinge joints, like our fingers go bend and straight. We have to have other joints that rotate. Now, some things you can do sitting in a chair or lying down. We're going to stay seated today. And some of the things you have to actually do in different positions. Most of it you can do from a seat. You can get the spine moving from a seat, and you can get your hips in almost all directions of movement from the chair. Remember, the one that we can't get from a seat is opening the front of the pelvis, but we'll get to that standing up. So let's start there. So go ahead and sit in your chair. So this has a fancy name in Sanskrit. Of course, everything has a fancy name in yoga. It's called Pawanmuktasana. Basically freeing the joints. So as you sit, I would sit back. And let's start in the hands. Drop your hands off of your lap. We're going to do 3 times per movement. And you inhale to extend and exhale to flex. So I'm open. I don't know if you can see that. I can show it up here. I'm going to inhale and open my hand, and then exhale and just not a big fist, just a small fist there. Don't squeeze hard. Make sure that when you're inhaling, that thumb is reaching out. And allow this to become a bit meditative so that you're really focusing on connecting breath and movement together. Now, you can do more. The recommendation is between 3 and 5 on each one, but I do want us to get into some other things today too. So we'll just do 3. Okay, now wrist movement. Flex the wrist as you breathe in here, or pull the hands back toward the forearm, and then pull the palm towards the forearm as you exhale. So inhale one way, exhale the other way. And don't strain, it shouldn't hurt. Comfortable range of motion. After each set, just stop and feel. And as I mentioned with the progressive relaxation, when we get to a body part for you that has like issues with it, notice if your tendency is to push really hard into it. Try to stay really comfortable. And I'm saying that for myself as much as I am for you. Okay, let's do circles with the wrist. So keep your shoulders relatively still. Keep breath flowing. Circle the wrists around in one direction. And you may notice clicking, popping, grinding, unfortunately. Go ahead and do the other side or the other direction. All right, and then relax the wrists. Let's bend and straighten the elbow. So fold the arm up and release. We might inhale one direction, exhale the other direction. Good. So the benefit of this series is that it helps to kind of free up stagnation in the joints. And when we move them this way, in this simple way, you often start to feel that there's differences in the two sides, right? Okay, so elbows are simple. They can only bend and straighten. There's nothing too exciting there with your elbows. Same thing with your knee. Okay, shoulders, however, are a little different. Shoulders have quite a bit of freedom of motion. So I'm going to come off the back of my chair just so I can move my shoulder blades around. And inhale and drag them up. And exhale, try to bring them all the way down. And again, I'm not doing 100% of my effort, just enough to get the shoulder blades to move. So one side might respond faster to the signal from your brain to move. Alrighty, and then let them come down, and then let's do shoulders forward, shoulders backwards. The arms are going to help us here. Rotate your arm out and pull the shoulder back. Then rotate your arms forward and palms backwards and rotate the shoulders toward the front. So rotate open, shoulders toward the center line, away from each other, hands come forward. So this is two things. It's really rotating the arm and moving the shoulder blade into protraction and retraction. I'm trying not to do too much with my head or my chest. Staying pretty still in the rest of the body. Okay. And then relax that position. And we can try the circle. So the circle takes those up, down, in, out, and puts them in a different order. So we'll inhale up and back. Exhale forward, down and forward. Inhale up and back. Exhale down and forward. And scoop the shoulders around nice and smoothly. Come all the way around to the back and stop. And then let's reverse it. So this time we'll inhale back and up, exhale forward and down. Inhale back and up, exhale forward and down. If you were making a square, try to make a little more rounded circle there with that motion. And then come all the way back around, and let's go ahead. I like to finish with the backward circle because this always makes me feel like my posture is bad. So I'm just gonna do up and back and down and stop again. Alrighty. So keep moving up to the neck, and if you wanna rest your arms, rest them on your lap, and you can sit back in your chair if you need to. So let's start with just a little nodding, not losing the weight of the head forward or backward, but draw the chin slightly down and in. And then as you breathe in, lift the chin up, exhale down. Can you relax your tongue and unclench the jaw while you do this? And up and down, and then center. All right. Trying to keep your shoulders still as we now go side to side. So it's just the head, not straining into the end range of your motion. This is an easy one to overdo. So side to side. Inhale one direction, exhale on the other. And then go back into the center. Let's add a couple of new neck movements today. Chin down, and we're going to sweep across from side to side. So again, don't strain the throat. Sweep one side. This gets into your bottom of your trapezius muscle. Swing to, which is there on the upper shoulder. Swing to the other side. Back and forth. Really nice and gently. So this is my Achilles heel part of my body. I have constant pain in my shoulders and my upper back. So what I have to notice, come back to center when you're ready, and then back up to the head in the normal position. What I notice is that I tend to try to push. It's like this weird reaction that I try to push into it in order to make something happen. So if you have a part of your body that's like that, just observe that about yourself and see if you can back off a bit. I promise cranking your neck around will not make your neck feel better. Unfortunately, we tend to do that though to like make it pop or something, and it doesn't really help. Okay, one more little side to side for this trapezius muscle. Turn to your right and then let your left arm hang off of your leg and just nod the head up and down a little bit. So keep your head turned, and let's inhale and lift the face. Exhale, draw the chin toward the chest. Keep it turned the same direction and do that again. Keep that back arm heavy. That helps to hold the shoulder blade down. Good. And then bring the head to center. I'm going to bring my head back to face the front, and then let that arm sit in my lap and drop the other arm off. So my right arm hangs down. My head goes to the left this time, and I'm just going to nod facing the left wall. So inhale, lift. And exhale, chin down. So you'll notice, keep going, you'll notice that this is doing something to both sides of your trapezius muscle. The side you're facing, it's getting a bit of contraction. The side you're faced away from, when one side contracts, the other side stretches basically. All right, finish on the downward motion. And then level the chin and center the head. Okay, now rest your arms and just notice how all of that feels. Do you feel like you need another centering or a releasing gesture? If you want to do another circle, reset. If you need to wiggle, do what you need to do. Okay, sit back again and let's close our eyes. We're going to actually do a little bit of eye work today. This is excellent for brain, and all of this work today is really good for your nervous system, connection from brain to body, and the feedback loop back from body to brain. So with the eyes closed, can you keep your head still and look up toward your hairline? Don't strain your eye muscles. And then look down past your nose. Gently look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Your eyebrows might lift up. Exhale, look down. And then relax your eyes into the center. Keep them closed. If they get extra tired, you can always blink a little bit too. That sometimes will alleviate that feeling of pull. Keep the head centered and then look the eyes to the right. Inhale and then exhale to the left. Try to imagine that you're looking across a horizon line. So sweep the eyes across to the right as you breathe in. Sweep them across to the left as you breathe out, tempting to turn the head, but stay in the middle. One more time. Right gaze, left gaze. Good. And then let the eyes relax into the center. And again, if you want to blink a couple of times, that might make them feel better. Okay, let's try now a diagonal gaze. This is a little bit weird. Our eye muscles, move constantly all day long, but let's see if we can make a diagonal line. So with your head in the center, look up, with your eyes closed, look up to your right, and then down to the left. Up to the right, be really gentle with this. Down to the left, and up to the right. Softly look down to the left, and then close the eyes. Or rather, center the eyes. They're already closed. Let's try the other direction. So now up to the left, down to the right, up to the left, down to the right, up to the left, and down to the right, and then center. Okay, now if you have on glasses, you might want to pop them up for just a second. This is just to soothe the eyes. You're going to rub your hands, the palms of your hands together until you make some warmth. Now you don't ever want to push on your eyeball, but you can cup that really hot palm, heel of the hand to the cheekbone, ball of the hand to the brow bone, and just make it dark and warm in there. Oh, it feels so nice. So perfect, after eye surgery, for example, or if you've been on the computer or staring at your screen on your phone for a while and your eyes start to feel strained. And do that one more time, make some heat. And cup over, make that nice dark, warm space. Just imagine that the eyes are bathing in that warmth. Good, and then go ahead and release. Now, if they water, that's a good sign. That means we did something, right? They shouldn't be streaming tears, but mine, almost every time I do this, my eyes do water a little bit. All right, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Okay, so let's move down into our feet now. So I'm gonna just kick my heels forward so that I can move my toes around a little easier. And as I breathe in, I'm gonna lift my toes off the floor. See if you can keep the ball of your foot close to the floor. And as I breathe out, I'm going to make a fist with my toes. Careful. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. And then relax. All right, now into the ankle. So that did the ball of the foot. Now let's go back to the ankle joint. So we'll do the same kind of a motion. Inhale, pull the feet up. Exhale, point the toes down and maybe even lift your heel off the floor. Inhale, flex the ankle. exhale, point. Keep some part of your foot down. If you feel like your belly or your back starts to grip, if your feet come off the ground, keep them on the floor. And one more, inhale, exhale. Okay, let's put one foot down and hold the other in the same position, and we're just going to turn a circle around. Now I'm noticing that my thigh is like trying to do this little dance. I try to keep my thigh out of it and just circle my ankle around. So part of that is because I'm talking, and it's hard to do two things at once sometimes, especially when they're far away from your brain. Try your other circle, same foot. All right, and then let's relax that side and switch, and we'll do circle. Keep breathing. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. Reversing. Good, and then relax. All righty. So next joint would be the knee. The knees don't do anything too exciting. They can bend, they can straighten. So let's work on the straight is easy. The bend is a little harder because the chair gets in our way. So if you, let's see, if we don't slide too far forward, but lean back so that your back is braced. And then one foot at a time, we're going to kick the leg out. I'm going to keep my thigh on my chair here. And then when I bend my knee, my thigh is going to lift a little bit, and I'm going to pull my ankle or my calf back up against the seat. I didn't touch it that time, but that gives me a little bit more room to bend my knee. So down as you straighten, lift up as you fold, so you have more space. Down as you straighten, and lift up a little bit as you fold. Good. All right, and then relax that side. And if you've got arthritis in your knees, there might be some kind of grinding sensations. I definitely have that on one side really badly. So let's try the other. Straighten out that leg, and then bend the knee, pull the heel back, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, and bend. All right, and then rest there. Now that got a tad into our hips, but we're going to do more in the hips. So actually stay back where you were. Let's do flexion of the hips like we normally do. Hold one side and pull in. Let the thigh ride the hands here. So pump that thigh. Keep a hold of your thigh. We'll get to the extension later. Exhale to close the joint. Inhale to relax. Exhale and release on the inhale. All right, and then other side. Exhale, inhale, and release. Good. Okay, now let's try to make an out and an in motion. We'll just do one leg at a time right now since we're sitting up. So I'm going to hold on to my, if you could hook your forearm under your thigh or your hand. I'm going to hold on to the chair with my other hand just so I stay put. I'm going to draw my thigh open and closed. And it just popped. So interesting little joint release there. I'm trying to let my leg be heavy, but not so heavy that it's hard for my arm to do this. All right, and then bring yourself back and go ahead and let that go to the floor and switch hands on the chair and hook the wrist or the hand underneath your thigh and brace. I'm sort of squeezing my elbow into the side of the chair so I don't slide too much, and then go out and in. Now my pelvis is slightly turning toward the side that my leg is moving, not drastically. Just don't limit that. Let yourself move. Good. And then releasing. Feels pretty good actually. All right, let that down. Let's push off the back of the chair now. And let's try to do some of our spinal movements. Of course, we know we have our 6 normal movements of the spine. Let's actually start with the side bend because that will help the back and forward bend feel more easy. And I'm just going to hang my arms down and just basically tilt the shoulder over. So just stretching and then centering. Here, let's inhale as we reach down. And on the exhale, you can access these abdominal muscles to pull the side of your waist down to help you sit back up again. So inhale, exhale. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Good. And last side. Try not to lift your hip up off the seat. Good. Okay, now a twist. So let's take the arms, find your nice tall seat, and as you breathe out, turn and just let the arm come across. Let your shoulders and head go with it so your whole spine is rotating. Inhale, come through the middle. Exhale, go to the other side. So nothing fancy with the twist today. I am feeling that in my middle body, that is where the twist is the most obvious. Right there where your rib and lower back meet, where we don't have a lot of other bone tissue, that's a very flexible part of the spine. So just be careful that you aren't pushing. Alrighty, other side one more time. And then back into the center. Okay, now it's the cat and cow. Remember, the main thing with sitting and doing cat-cow is you've got to get your pelvis to move. Okay, so don't just stay still and do the upper body. Let's tuck our tail under and reach to the knees and go ahead and let the chin draw down. So feel the curve, the whole spine. And then inhale, sit up, rock the belly forward and draw. Go ahead and draw your arms back. That'll help you get that nice upper back bend. Exhale and round. Inhale to cow, arch. Exhale, round. We're thinking about an even amount of back bend and forward bend here. Inhale to cow one more time. And then center on your breath out. Okay, take a moment and feel your whole body. So you should feel kind of tingly. All of that prana that gets stuck in our joints because we, even if we exercise all the time, there's still parts of the day where we are sedentary. That gets stuck, especially when we sleep, is now mobilized. And we've sent many messages between body and brain and body and through the nervous system so that now it sort of stimulates the mind as well, which is really nice. Okay, so what we're going to do with the rest of our time, let me just see what time it is. Okay, some other movements that are kind of whole body energizers and things that also can be really helpful for pain. Remember with pain, we're going to stand up so we can do the front hip thing. With pain, we never want to push into any part of the body that doesn't feel good. But also, being stationary doesn't really help with pain either. We've got to try to keep just enough mobility in the joints so that we don't get stuck. Okay, so I'm going to take either the back of the chair or the seat of the chair. Back of the chair is a little easier. Seat of the chair is a little bit more of a challenge to do a lunge. This is to stretch the front of this hip here. So go ahead and step up to your prop. And we're going to take the right foot and step it behind. So I'm going to brace on my back of my chair here. Not a huge step back, but more than a regular step. So we'll start with the feet body's distance wide, but twice a foot, twice a step long. And keep the torso relatively upright. Now, if you're on the front of the chair, you're going to be leaning forward further, right? And let's just bend and straighten this front knee a couple times. So bending and straightening, and bending and straightening. And notice how your natural movement happens here. So there is a very slight opening of the pelvis toward the side as you bend that knee. Don't enhance it, and also don't limit it. Okay, go into the bent knee position and pause. Now, if you're on the seat, I want you to stay like this and just relax. Or stay here and feel the stretch in the hip. If you are upright, we can move that arm around a little bit. So if you want to come upright, make sure your body gets under your head. You don't want to be like halfway and start moving your arm. It's not great for your back. So from the upright spine, my right arm is going to reach up and soft outside, go out and down, forward and up. Kind of a lazy arm here. Don't extend too hard into the joints. Out and down. One more time. Forward, up, and out, and back to the chair, and then switch sides. So lean. I'm going to step back and forward with the other foot. Orient the feet bodies distance apart. Get your balance. And then start to bend and straighten the knee. So feel the pelvis and the spine move together. And then after 3 or 4, come to the bent knee variation and stop. If you're in the lower version and you want to come up, you can walk your hand up your thigh and hold your hands at your hips if you like. You're going to take that other arm and softly go up and out and down, nice and gentle. So just feel your shoulder motion. Just like our hip has a rhythm, the shoulder also has a rhythm to it. Up and out and down. Good. Okay, now lean into the forward position so that you can take the weight off the back foot and come back into a mountain position. Okay, I am going to either keep let's just keep our chairs where we are. We're going to now do some whole body movements, and this chair is going to be a place that you can hold on to. The depth of this will be kind of like a chair position here, and if you're on the seat, you'd be a little further down. Okay, so make sure that feels okay for you. Stand far enough away that you're not going to run into your chair if you bend your knees. And let's do both arms. We're going to go out and make a circle like we do at the end of class. Go up, hands together, bring it down through the center, and sit your hips back just a little bit. So we'll start really high in this chair position. Push into the feet and stand up and go back the other way. And this time go down to your thighs and sit down a little deeper into the chair position. All right, inhale, stand up, arms out to the side. We're going to go out and up to the center. This time come down to the actual chair and sit down just a little bit deeper. I'm trying to keep my belly lifted and I'm pushing in the back of my thigh here, pushing backward. Good, and then come back up to stand and relax the shoulders and just stand naturally. And we're going to try that, something like that again. So 3 or 4 increments down. Okay, so inhale, out and up. As you come down, soft bend the knee, lift the belly, drop the tailbone. Tiny chair. Inhale, stand. Exhale to the thighs, a little deeper chair. Good. Inhale, stand up and go out and up again. This time as you come forward, exhale, come to the chair and sit just a little bit deeper. Now as you come into that chair position, you should feel relatively even with what your legs are doing here. And then as you're ready, go ahead and stand yourself back up and you can relax the shoulders and come back to neutral. And just feel how you're standing. Sometimes those symmetrical poses really shine a light on the places where we don't stand evenly. I can kind of feel it in my hips after I finish that I'm a little bit not straight. Not that I can necessarily change anything about that, but just observe. All right, let's take the hands onto the seat again or the back of the chair, and we're going to go ahead and do that nice long stretch. So take a step backward. Soft knees, similar body movement, hips back and stretch the arms forward. Keep your head above your arm there. Now press down a little bit into the hands and extend into the body. Now I'm not going to go fully straight because my chair is not going to stay put. So depending upon where your chair is, come as much into an extended body. Well, it's working pretty well. Go slow enough and then we'll push back. Just be careful with your furniture. This works with this chair because this bar is at an angle. It may not work as well if you have a straight back chair. So I'm pressing forward and pressing back. This works well too if your hands are on the seat. All right, let's just keep doing that. Go slow enough that this is comfortable. Make sure your wrists stay nice and straight. All right, one more. No strain in the shoulders on either end of the movement. So this is kind of like what we would do on the floor. Cobra pose to downward facing dog, very similar, or plank to downward dog. And then stream those arms forward. Drop your shoulders and pull the pelvis backward. Relax between your shoulder blades. The head is not going to drop down between the arms. Press into the legs. Make sure that your breath is easy and gentle. And then come partway forward and then just bring your feet under you. All right, and as you stand up, just kind of reset your shoulders again and feel those whole body movements, really tapping into the patterns that we have in our movement. Okay, we're gonna do one more, or maybe two more. I'm gonna turn myself so that I'm behind my seat now. So you might need to turn to the side so that you're facing the chair seat. And I'm going to try to get my feet on, still to stay on my sticky mat here. So move that forward a little bit. Now we're going to do some diagonals. So feet slightly wider than the chair seat. And let's practice just with turning the foot slightly out at a diagonal. So I'm going to start on my right side. I'm going to turn my right foot part way out. It doesn't need to go out to 90 degrees. And I'm going to stretch my left arm up on the diagonal. So reach the diagonal, left hand to right foot. And just feel that, and then bring it back, and bring the foot back. And let's try the other side. So you can either do heel in and toe out, or just dig the heel and turn the toe out, whichever feels better for your hip. And stretch down the diagonal. Good. Okay. Now, let's try a little bit more of a forward motion. So turn the first foot out again, and instead of going up and out, we're going to come down to the seat. My pelvis is moving straight back. I'm going to touch the chair. Now I can also touch the back of the chair if the chair seat is too low down. Having the chair back is going to make your arms extend forward. Having the seat is going to make them extend downward. And I'm going to lean. Now, my legs are not far enough apart that my knee is actually right at my toes. If I want to go deeper than that, I'm going to have to take my legs further apart so that I don't want my knee to go past my toes. This is going to stretch this inside of the leg on the other side. So lean and center. Can you turn the feet back to the front? So take your time and then turn your other toe slightly out and then lean. So you still have a diagonal, right? From shoulder to foot, and then center, and then foot to the front. Okay, let's add an arm. First foot out, lean. Can you get your right toe is out, your left hand is going to come onto the chair. Can you, actually, sorry, your right hand is going to come onto the chair. Can you take your left arm and just stretch it out to the side? Stretch it back. And then center and turn the feet forward. Now if you need a break, you can kind of bend those knees in the center for a moment. Before you do the other side, one more time, turn the foot out, and I'm going to stretch the opposite arm out. Lift your belly up. Good. And then back to the center. Feet to the center. Hands on the thighs, and push straight up. And then let's go ahead and take some small steps in, or do heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. And take a couple of steps in place. Step your feet, again, just maybe half as wide as they were a moment ago. So just about as wide as your chair. Bring your hands up onto your hips, and let's circle the pelvis around. So again, feeling that central movement at the hips, at the lower spine, and allowing the body to move in a very natural way. So your head, naturally, unless you do something to go against what you're naturally wanting to do, your head is going to stay where your eyes are along the horizon line. That's why as we do this, the head doesn't really move. and then reverse the direction. Especially if you're looking at something. So if you find something in your space to look at, your head will stay put. Good. Okay, let's stay upright and get that right toe and turn it out again. And this time, let's angle the back hand onto the hip, and we're going to slide the front hand to the thigh, and we're just going to tip straight back, lean over. This is a modified triangle pose. We're just leaning, not side bending. Spine is equally long on both sides of the waist, and then bring yourself up and bring the feet to neutral. One hand is on the hip, one hand is on the thigh. Switch that, turn your toes out a little bit, and you're going to drop that hand towards your knee. Now I'm trying to keep my head and my pelvis in the same horizontal plane. I'm not letting my butt go back and my head come toward the chair. Okay, so I'm trying to stay like behind an invisible force field right in front of me. Let's try it again. Turn the first foot out and switch the hands and slide down. Keep your head above the heart. Bring it back up and turn to the front, and let's try the other side one more time. Just a dip down, pause, and bring yourself back up. Very good. Okay, and then come back to the center, and then bring your legs back in again one more time and take a couple of steps. Very, very nice. Roll the shoulders backwards. Okay, take a second just to stand and close your eyes. Now, if you feel dizzy, of course, you don't need to close your eyes. Be aware of your whole body. Be aware of how you are holding yourself. And make an intention to carry some of that with you for the rest of your day. So that as you move through the rest of your day, especially things like getting in and out of a chair, getting in and out of your car, getting dressed and undressed, and showering or bathing. Those movements where we have to make big movements with the body, not small movements with the body, that we're really aware of those movement patterns that we have. All right, let's take an inhale and reach out and up. Big breath in, exhale to the breastbone, and then reverse, inhale up and out, around, and back to the center of the chest. Very good. Namaste. Thank you.